Lung cancer is a term used to describe an abnormal growth of cells inside your lungs. Cancerous cells reproduce at a much quicker rate than normal and cluster together to produce a growth or fluid. This is commonly called a tumour. If the cells first start growing in the lung, it's called a primary tumour. If these cells break off and travel to other areas of the body, the new growth they develop is called a secondary tumour, or metastasis. 3 people every second are diagnosed with lung cancer, and the news can be devastating.
The 21st of June 2005 was the day our life changed completely.
Well, initially I always seemed to have a cold, and during the process of my work I started to feel as though I was slowing down.
I went to visit my doctor. I had a persistent tickly cough, and the wife was going on, oh, you must get it sorted, and one thing and another.
And it hadn't even dawned. I had no reason to think there was anything seriously wrong with me. I'd had a bronchoscopy on the Wednesday and a scan on the Friday. And I was in church on Sunday, and there was somebody, I knew her mother was ill, and I said, how is your mum? And she said, oh, she's got lung cancer. And it just suddenly went through my mind, I wonder, is that what I have?
To tell you the truth, it wasn't the words that happened. I've always been a fairly laid-back kind of guy, and I don't show emotion very easily. But he searched around in his office for a booklet to help me understand things. And the booklet was in block letters on the front, lung cancer.
And we come out, as we came outside and we stood in the street, I looked at her and I just burst into tears, And I thought, what am I going to do now?
You're never ready to be told you have lung cancer. Suddenly your plans have to change, and you need to start looking at life differently. But it is important to understand that it's normal to feel scared and unprepared. You should focus on your treatment and make plans for coping with your change of pace.
Well, the first thing that happens when you know you have cancer, you have your family. How am I going to explain this?
I went through all the classic emotions of denial and blame and everything else.
If you ask me how Mick coped, he went into complete shutdown mode for a fortnight. Didn't talk to anybody, wouldn't talk to me. And then came out fighting. And months later, when we were talking about what he was doing, he was literally getting his head around it and left me to do all the peripheral things around him. And he just said, don't cry, you need to be strong for me.
I put myself into work, I worked all the hours God sent. If they asked me to go here, there and everywhere I used to go. I used to volunteer for all the overtime, just to wrap myself up. I masked it really, and plus the fact I didn't have to face Susan, and discuss it with her, because, every time she looked at me, it seems silly, but she's sort of like bursting into tears,
I really had no idea how it might affect the rest of the family. I barely accepted it myself.
I hate to say it, but there were times where, am I going to wake up in the morning? I actually thought that.
It turned our world upside down, but I had to look forward and we had to think positive and say, right, let's get this surgery out the way and see how we go from there.
This is something that nobody else is experiencing. This is my cancer.